Steven Spielberg has a big alien blockbuster movie coming out in theaters this summer. But it's a real bummer for the cinema owners that Spielberg has turned to a marketing strategy of, hey, come on down, see my movie. It might just change your faith. No, seriously, that's what they're claiming. We'll explain why that's D-U-M-B dumb on the other side. It's a fantastic day. Every day we get to spend time together. Folks, thank you for clicking on the video. It keeps us doing what we do, and what we do for you. Today we're talking about Steven Spielberg, a genius in filmmaking, a legend who is making a very amateur mistake in saying that, hey, this might cause your kids to question their faith if they come see my brand new blockbuster film. Boy, oh boy, what a way to market the thing. Click the like button. We'll explain right now. You know, I remember the days when you could go to a summer blockbuster and it was just about fun. Aliens, you know, blowing up the White House, and I'm back, you know, Cousin Eddie flying his ship up into them. You know, alien films like, you know, Third Encounter. Like, you didn't have to go all weird on us. You could go with Star Trek and Star Wars, but now, in the Christian Post, Steven Spielberg says new Disclosure Day film will raise theological questions. And let's just say this is not being well received. This is by John Brown, Christian Post reporter. It says director Steven Spielberg suggested during a Sunday interview that his new film about extraterrestrials might raise theological questions among some Christians regarding the nature of the cosmos. Speaking with Turner Classic Movies host Ben Mankiewicz on CBS News Sunday morning, Spielberg said Disclosure Day, his upcoming movie about a meteorologist and cybersecurity expert exposing the government's cover-up of extraterrestrial secrets, will touch on the implications such a revelation would have for religious people. There's a faction in the film that represents a pretty good position of why, possibly because of ontological shock, social dislocation, if this is true. We're just known overnight if the government announced, yes, we've been keeping this from you since 1947, that would mess up a lot of people. Spielberg also said the film, one of whose characters is a former Roman Catholic nun, also takes the position of the Catholic Church. What does this do to the fundamental beliefs that many of us have? Is God our God only on this planet, or is God a God for every system where there's civilization, intelligent life, and even developing life? Before I even play the clip from Spielberg, I just want to say this is the lowest level thinking presented as the deepest I believe I've seen. I mean, this is like saying, do you want to do a swan dive into the 1-inch puddle of water? Is God our God only on this planet, or is God a God for every system? I'm sorry. At what point did Christians and Jews not believe that God is the God of the cosmos? God is the God of the universe and everything that's been made, the singular source for everything, the original agent of creation.
Pro, just remember, this guy made Rachel Zegler.
Jeez Louise. Well, I wish he'd go back to that, honestly. All right, here's the clip. We're going to play it from Shadow of Ezra, and it's hosted, I believe, on CBS. We always have to be ridiculously careful about playing stuff on CBS. In fact, I'll just tell you, folks, we're going to play it because we have to. Otherwise, you won't know what's going on. And when we play it, we're going to get dinged. So super chat's needed because we're going to lose all the financial incentive of doing the show by doing this. But otherwise, you don't know what we're talking about. Here's Spielberg. Here's what he says.
What does this do to the fundamental beliefs that many of us have? And, you know, is God our God only on this planet? Or is God a God for every system where there's civilization, intelligent life, and even developing life?
Oh, boy.
Okay. So Spielberg, and this is going all over the news, is you know, the idea that this is going to make people doubt their faith or whatever. I mean, this is so simple a question. If this makes you question anything, maybe you need to go back to, you know, 101. Well, Lauren, you had something to say. Hop in real quick.
I was just going to say Harrison would have the proper response. It's not that kind of movie, kid.
It's not that kind of movie, Stephen. Yeah, we've had alien movies forever. We've never had a theological, crushing situation where we can't figure out what this would mean. Everybody already knows what it means. If you believe in God and there are aliens, then God made the aliens because he made the moon and the stars and the sun and the sky. And like, this is not hard. Wiz, why are we marketing this movie this way? That's the real question. Yeah. There is no theist out there who is shaken in their beliefs right now by any of this. So why are we marketing this way?
I think it's really wonderful that Hollywood, of all places, of all people, think that it's a really good idea and a really ample time to make believers question their faith. What a wonderful time to do that. You know, as if there's any a good time to do that. But right now, of all times, we're gonna go down that rabbit hole, really. And this is not the first time that this has happened. If we look back to 2011, 2012, the release of Ridley Scott's Prometheus did something extremely similar. I don't know if any of you guys saw Prometheus. The entire premise of Prometheus is that they sold this thing as a prequel to the Alien series, the Aliens, except the real story is that, no, it was an alien species that created human beings. And then that's the whole premise, is that actually we weren't created by God. We were created by aliens, and that Jesus Christ himself is one of those engineers that we then crucified, and that they were actually going to destroy humanity after we killed Jesus, that Jesus was an alien.
Have you ever noticed how it's always one religion or two religions that take the brunt of all of this, and they never mix the other stuff in it? I can't imagine why. I don't know why.
That's the thing, bro. It's not two religions. It's really one. So, and it's usually focused on one particular guy, and it usually happens to be going after Jesus, right? Like that's the question. That's usually the question that's put forward. In this case, Disclosure Day. Like, we haven't seen it yet. I'll be seeing it on opening day just so we could cover it here. Now I'm not excited at all.
Well, that's the marketing.
No, I'm not excited at all.
This is such a dumb marketing decision. You know, Andy, it's like this, okay? Back in the 80s, there was a show. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, okay? There was a show called Alf. And there was never a time, Andy, in my life when I heard, "Hey, Willie, where's the cat? I kill me." There's never a time that I saw Alf running around and I thought, you know, that really makes me question my fundamental axiomatic beliefs as to the cosmos. What is going on, Andy, that this is how Hollywood now? Spielberg should know better than this. Does he not even care anymore? Is he like, well, let's just West Side Story this thing again? Like, this is the worst marketing strategy in the history of marketing strategies. Come on down to the alien blockbuster movie and we'll make you question your faith. Your kids won't be Christians or Jews anymore after this one.
Spielberg used to know how to just entertain people. Back in 78, when we had Battlestar Galactica, what did it start off with? There are those who believe that life here began out there, and had this whole epic, song, theme, and whatnot brings you in there. And this isn't really anything new, but it's a stupid thing to bring up. And I mean, you bring up a great point with that, because it's like Madonna, like, look, I'm going to be edgy and I'm going to gyrate on a cross, but there's certain other elements that she won't touch because, well, she's got reasons for that. And this is just a really, really stupid thing to do before your movie opens, because you know that the public is so hyper fixated on really, especially one side, looking for things that are disparaging things that you hold dear and that you hold sacred. And the idea that in this time where you're looking how important a blockbuster is and a really successful movie, it's the same thing with Christopher Nolan. You take things and it's like you're intentionally steering towards the iceberg. This is the dumbest take you could possibly imagine, because, I heard this said once that people of faith only struggle with one question, like, why do good people suffer? Other than that, the answer is God took care of everything else. But people with no faith have to answer everything else. How did this happen? How did music come? How did we go from rocks to Mozart? How did we get to there? It's like you have to try and find ways to answer for all those things. People of faith can just say, like, well, that's God's will. Like, and the only thing that I can't jive with this is why, do little kids get cancer or something like that. And hopefully someday you understand that when, you meet the guy. But this is about the dumbest thing you could possibly do, especially when not just Spielberg, but like, we haven't had a huge hit. We've had movies that have done pretty well, but we haven't had, we're well past the Force Awakens box offices and the Endgame box offices. Right now it's such a dearth. And to think that there's anything you could do that And I guess maybe because he's Steven Spielberg and he thinks he can say whatever he is because he's Steven Spielberg. But how many moviegoers today even know who Steven Spielberg is? I talk to younger people that have never seen Jaws. I mean, and there's even some crazy guy that doesn't think Jaws is a very good movie with his criticalist thing. Sorry, Blaine. But Steven Spielberg does not have the clout that he used to have anymore. And Hollywood doesn't have the clout that they used to have anymore. And I think Spielberg has just been surrounded in that echo chamber too long, and where these ideas are kind of thrown out there where they look down at people that actually have faith.
Lauren, let's nerd out for a minute and let's pretend like we're the better versions of Neil deGrasse Tyson. Can we do that for just a minute, Lauren? Will you join me on that quest?
I guess if we have to.
We have to, Lauren. So the Fermi paradox, right? The idea that space is a really big place, but we don't see any signs of intelligent life out there. I don't know that we're ever going to find intelligent life in the vast array of the cosmos. It may be this strange thing
that we're ever going to find intelligent life here.
Are you
sure? It may be, Lauren, that we are on a long adventure, and that we are the source of consciousness in the universe. And I think that actually drives the Hollywoods a little bit mad. I think the Hollywoods hate the idea that we are the conscious creatures that, because they have been pretending now for decades that we're a virus on the face of the earth, that we're a calamity. We're destroying nature itself by being here. And I think that Spielberg, man, he's obsessed with aliens. And I think it's getting to them where they're creating these kind of like quasi-religious beliefs that they put out that are just so strange and bizarre. And they're not deep. They're not philosophically dense. And, I don't think if we find out there are microbes on Mars, which could happen, I don't think that changes anything about anybody's faith. I think the only thing that would cause people to, reevaluate some things, and I still don't think it would then, is if we found supremely intelligent life out there. But so far that hasn't happened. And I think that the longer this goes and we don't see intelligent civilizations out there, I think it's less and less likely unless those civilizations exist in like dark matter. Who knows what could be in dark matter? It's like 70% of whatever constitutes the universe, and we have no idea what the heck it is or how to, so maybe intelligence lives in that, but we just don't know. And I think Spielberg is taking a very, very weak theological, conflict and pretending like this is the thing that's going to drive people to go watch a movie.
All right. So there's two ways that I can answer this. And one of them, I think, is the one that you just gave, which is that we're discussing this as though Spielberg is trying to be profound. What Spielberg is doing is trying to hype a movie. and that's why he's saying
fake profundity.
Right. And there's some people that are saying, some people are suggesting that maybe he was working with the government so that they could soft disclose. And it's like, no, I don't think so.
I hope he is.
I would also say if we're going to look at this in a more a deeper way, if I was going to take this a little more seriously, I tend to look at things from a slightly skewed perspective. I don't really get into my religious beliefs a whole lot because I don't want to shove anything that I believe on other people.
Come on, Lauren, dive into it. Let's have at it. What do you got?
He's a Pastafarian.
The way that I look at it is that, look, I can understand why people would be a little panicked about people with religious beliefs because in this the way that you were phrasing it, space is really, 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 really big. It's really, really big. It is so giant. And the saying that when you look into the abyss also looks at you. If you look into that giant, vast abyss and we are the only thing, that is a terrifying thought.
That's a panel from Calvin and Hobbes that I love.
But I look at it in reverse. The way I look at it is, part of what gives me belief in a divine being is, if you believe that we are in a Goldilocks zone, and we are, look at every other planet that we have seen. The vast majority of them are giant balls of gas, rock, in inhospitable conditions, and yet on this planet, any place that you have just a little bit of water, just a little bit, life springs in abundance.
Life finds a way.
That in itself is a miracle. You look at a split piece of concrete that gets a little bit of dirt and a little bit of water in there, and flowers spring forth from it, and the roots drive the concrete apart. That in itself is a miracle.
They call that legendary. They call that legendary mode in the plant world, by the way.
Because we are here, and because we are so accustomed to be surrounded by life, it appears to be normal. I assure you, viewer, it is not. The vast reaches of space are empty and silent and cold and designed to kill everything out there. This is the haven where life exists, and that I think is something that we need to be a little more cognizant of.
I think if we spent more time in movies treasuring the consciousness that exists here and recognizing the miracle that it is, I think that would be a better message for the world.
Yeah.
Wiz, I felt like I was hanging for your final thought, but I may have misjudged it.
I have I love everything that Lauren just said. I want to throw I actually want to throw a hope core caveat out there. The fact that all of the other planets, as inhospitable as they are typically loaded with resources that we use for things, just means that the cosmos is our playground. If we are the only ones here, then it's then space is ours to conquer, and that is the final frontier.
Let's go exploring, eh? That's the kind of movie I can get behind. That's why Project Hail Mary is likely to outdo this one, because it got things right. And Rocky, Amaze didn't make anybody say, maybe I don't believe in the divine anymore. You know, when you stick around for the entire video, it really does help the channel. And we're so appreciative of that, ladies and gentlemen. Imagine that you would stick around and hear everything we have to say. The studio is glistening because you're listening each and every day. If you're not yet subscribed, well, you should be. And click that like button. Until the next time, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.